and welcome back. Welcome me back. No, I know it's been a hot minute since I've been here, but I am so happy to be bringing you some videos of this really awesome collage style mixed media that I put together for a particular show that's very famous, very popular. This is just me kind of going through all of my country, southern, western, whatever you want to call it, kind of style. When I got I guess the message of saying, you know, will you make a tumbler for me? She said that the lady had a Tiffany colored tumbler that she uses every day, and so I was like, okay, that's perfect. I can go with kind of that theme as far as that color. And so I just kind of pulled out everything that I felt kind of had that vibe for doing more of like a Western show style that the show is. So I took it outside and I spray painted it this really beautiful coastal teal or something like that is what it is, from Rust-Oleum. But I just painted it just because I wanted to have that base of that color underneath. I didn't necessarily know if that, you know, how much of that color was going to be showing through, but I did want to have that base of that color so that if any of that color did show through, it's fine, because it's gonna go with our theme and all the other little aspects and elements that I was going to be able to put on here. So what I'm doing here is I only had a very limited amount of time to kind of work with this tumbler, and so I was like, I'm going to try out kind of just the fastest, quickest way that I could do the certain things as far as sealing goes. And so what I did here was I just took Mod Podge, I spray painted it, let it dry, and then I just went in with Mod Podge and sealed in the paint. And I ended up doing 2 coats of this Mod Podge coating because I just wanted to kind of seal in that paint. I didn't want to start putting things or sticking things or rubbing things or anything on there and then it become you know, it starts scratching the paint off. So I thought just a little bit of Mod Podge is just kind of what I need, just to kind of keep things in place while I kind of do all these different little aspects that I was kind of thinking that I would. So she had told me that the lady had a Yeti style tumbler, and so I thought, well, I'll do a modern curve and in that same kind of, I guess, you know, theme aspect of a tumbler. And so I just kind of took these pieces of vinyl that I had left over from some earrings that I had made a video a while back that I had done, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna cut certain pieces off, and just wherever I felt like I was gonna, you know, I wasn't trying to get anything perfectly put on there or, you know, accurately done or anything. I mean, this was all to just kind of lay down a foundation of a collage, a foundation to lay down for, you know, any kind of foils or other stuff that I was going to do to the tumbler. So this is just kind of me building the design up. So I just took these different pieces of this and just kind of wrapped it around, if you will, in the different spots around the tumbler. And then I ended up leaving just that one part in the middle there open, because I was going to be putting a decal on this of a particular sort, and so I wanted to kind of leave maybe just one space where, you know, because I had no idea what I was doing at the time. I mean, not that I didn't have any idea of what I was doing, I just didn't have like a you know, a solid plan or anything. I was like, okay, I'm just going to use a bunch of this stuff and throw it on here, and we're going to make a tumbler out of it. So that's why I kind of wanted to film it, because this is just sometimes how it is, you know, you just go and just get all the things that you think would kind of match or look good with it, you know, with the style or with the theme, and then you just kind of mix it up and just do some fun stuff. So this vinyl I got from 311 Co. And I really liked the serape feel of the background, and then the cow print of the star, you know. So I kind of was, I meant to do more of that. I was going to do more of it, but for some reason I did the one piece and then I just went on and did some other things. So anyways, but this is what happens when you do these types of things. You're like, oh, that is not going to work the way I thought it was, or that, oh yeah, that's left underneath something and I totally forgot about it or whatever. But I did have a lot on my table. I had these rub-on transfers from Southern Belle Glitter that Dixie Darlins had made. I had this vinyl from Peachy Olive Glitters. I had vinyl from 311 Co. You know, I had vinyl from I don't even know where that, you know, I just had somewhere sitting around. And so this little piece of this turquoise was kind of what I wanted to be my background, I guess, for my decal. And so I am trying to put it, I'm trying to get it on there as decently as possible. I wasn't too concerned with, you know, wrinkles and whatnot. I wanted it to look nice, but I knew that I was going to be putting all kinds of different aspects on here, foil, whatnot. So I was like, it's okay if there's like a few, you know, wrinkles here and there for any of the vinyl. But I did try my best, as you can see here, to kind of make it as straight and you know, whatever, I guess, less wrinkly than you know, it looked at that point. Anyways, I cut off, you know, I was cutting off the rims on the tops, on the bottoms. I didn't really want to do much to the bottom. I was fine with, like, you know, foil or whatever getting down there, but I kind of left the bottom kind of open to, you know, for whatever. So anyways, this is where the particular popular TV show comes into play. I got this last year when I was at TumblerCon from, I'm gonna mess up the name, so I will just link it down below, but they had this really cool vinyl sheet of all the stuff in there, so I thought it would be kind of neat to, I had used it for something else already, so I ended up just cutting pieces of it out of the particular character that this person wanted this theme to be, and so I just kind of used the little scraps that I had left over for it. So I was kind of cutting out this particular character, and I thought these little, like, these little pictures would be kind of cool to add in there and just kind of have them just kind of as a, you know, kind of an Easter egg type of Where's Waldo kind of thing in there, since they were, the other picture with the particular person was bigger and it kind of took up a little bit more space, and so I thought the little small snippet of her would be kind of cool to kind of throw in there. And also adding the name of the show, I thought would kind of be another little Easter egg that could be found as you're going around the tumbler and looking at all the aspects. So I have been sitting on these transfers for so long, and you know, you get them and you're so inspired by them, and then, you know, you get them in and then you go, why did I get these? That's what happens to me all the time. I don't know what happens to you, but it happens to me every single time I get something in. I really have to have like an actual theme or a direction that I've been told that I have to go in order for when the stuff comes in that I'm like, okay, I need this for whatever it is, you know. But if I just get something because I'm like, oh, that's really cool, I could do this, I could do that with it. Yeah, by the time it comes in, I'm lost. I forget why I wanted to do it. So I've had these transfers forever, and you know, and I'm also trying to find a place to put them. So I cut out different little aspects. I didn't want to have any other type of wording on there. I thought about it, and I was kind of like, but I wanted it to kind of stay true to the theme that we were going for. So I just put these different types of elements on there. They're extremely easy to use, and I was putting them right on top of vinyl, right on top of spray painted, you know, Mod Podge on top kind of thing, and they were working perfectly fine. So I think you could put these on anything, anywhere, and they would be great. I will say, to make sure that you keep them on these sheets, don't cut them up, because they have a tendency to kind of get stuck up underneath, and then one will get stuck up on top of another one, and then you've ruined all your transfers. So just try to keep them the best you can, either rolled up in the container that they come in, or the package that they come in, or you know, laid out in a drawer or something like that. So that's kind of how I had them on a shelf. So anyways, I was just looking through the different aspects, and I thought about a cactus. I would want to put cactus on there because I grew up in West Texas, and I just, you know, love that aspect. But this was a different place, so I was like, no, I can't do the cactus. You know, it wouldn't. I don't think it would match with the with what we were doing. So these paints here, I had got these probably last year. I don't know. But they're like patina things that you can find on Amazon. I think Jessica Flynn had a particular tumbler that she did, and I recreated it. And so I had these sitting in a thing with a bunch of other paints and foils and things. So I just pulled them out, and I was like, maybe I'll use these, maybe I won't, I don't know. But so I ended up obviously finding a place for them. And so I was just, well, like I said, I'm feeling it wherever I feel like the tumbler is going to be, you know, needs a little like covering up, or needs a little zhuzh or a little sparkle or whatever. So I ended up doing the paints, and then I ended up going with these, I guess you would call them micas. They were a little bit thicker than micas, so I wasn't sure exactly what they were supposed to be. But they were glittery, and they were sparkly. And they had just come in the box with the Chase Ray mystery box from August. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't we just use them? Because they did have the colors that I was doing there, which is that kind of rusty, you know, patina orangey color. And then this other, it was kind of, the teal color was kind of a, like it had kind of a shift to it, so it's kind of like teal green. But I thought I was just putting it over on top of the paint, and so it was just adding a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of something to it. It really didn't add too much to it, but I just, you know, kind of threw it on there to see what it would do, just to add a little sparkle. She said she didn't want glitter, but it's really hard. That is really hard, to not put any kind of glitter whatsoever. So I'm using some of the foil glue that I got from Southern Belle Glitter. I don't really like it, but I don't. Maybe I just don't know how to use this glue to the right way. But anyways, I put some of the glue on there, and then I took some of this foil that I thought would be kind of a really cool, just added color to the tumbler, and it didn't add that much because the glue but I just really didn't have the time to wait for like a day for the other stuff to dry. No, I mean, it doesn't take that long, but it does take a little bit longer than I would have preferred. So anyways, I really like foils, the crumpled up foil stuff anyway. So I just was like, you know what, we're just gonna go with this. And so I had the different foils as far as like silver and gold and rose gold, and I had like a pink. And so I just started putting them on wherever there was glue, wherever, you know, I had put to do some of that foil. And yeah, I just had a really good time with it. I had a lot of fun with this. I always love doing these types of tumblers because they just allow you to kind of do so many things as far as using the different things that you have in your craft room, or using different techniques that you just haven't got to use in a long time, or that you've never used, or and it really doesn't matter because you're going for that kind of messy, thrown together, you know, that mixed media look. So a lot of this can, you know, can go any way that you really want, and then there's going to be just these little Easter eggs in there that are, people are going to be able to be like, oh, look at that, oh, I see this, oh, this is fun. And that's why I love doing these types of things. I don't get to do them very often, but when somebody comes to you and says, I want to do this type of theme, what's easier than this, than to do this? And, you know, everybody has some Western style stuff, or some, you know, however you want to, whatever, you know, adjective you want to call it. But anyways, I had a lot of fun with putting the foil on there, putting the vinyl on there, and just kind of layering up the different looks and the different feel. I ended up at the end there just taking the foil that had kind of come down and like fallen on the sheet, and I was just like rubbing it all over the thing, because that foil stuff, it will go everywhere and it will get on everything. So you can be sure that it will go on. So if you don't want it on everything, you better be very careful. I had actually printed these barbed wire pieces out a while back to do a tumbler with the same theme with the entire show, cast, whatever, but I ended up, it just didn't work the way that I thought it would, and so I just had these sitting in my decal box, my little decal file folder thing. So I went through and I found these sunflowers, and I just was like, let's put some barbed wire on there, let's put some of these sunflower pieces on there. These I got at the Dollar Tree. I love going to the Dollar Tree on random days when you're like, I've got an hour, you know, and you just pop in there and you just never know what you're gonna find. And I found so many flowers, and they're kind of 3D, like they're a little bit raised up, and so they really added another kind of element to this, because they didn't just like stick on there, they were raised, and so it felt like you kind of had put another layer of, you know, like you put a layer and then done something else on top of that. So it really worked out, I thought. So I don't know where you could get these, but I did find them at the Dollar Tree, and I bought a whole bunch of them. So anyways, then after that, I covered it in Mod Podge, because, you know, that's what I do. So I wanted everything to be sealed in and secured. And so once this dried, we were able to go into our coats of epoxy. So I had a bottle of the Flynn Sisters Fast Set, and I hadn't used it yet, but I was in quite a bit of a hurry for this tumbler. As you can see, I did everything in one day as far as the design goes. I did have to put a coat of epoxy on there before I put the decal on there, but that was fine because the Fast Set was really nice. I was really kind of obsessed with it by the time I got done with this tumbler, because I was like, okay, you know, I was able to work with it for a little bit longer than some Fast Sets that I've used, and then I got a perfect finish. I mean, I popped the bubbles after this. I used my my heat gun, and I just popped the bubbles, and then I let it spin for like 3 hours, and then it was like, it was still like, it was very pettable, you know, but it was still a little bit sticky, like if I was to try to take it off. But as far as just, it felt like it was like, if I touched it, I would be, you know, really kind of maybe messing with the texture of the outside of the coat. But other than that, as you can see here, I really worked it for quite some time. I used, I think, 7.5 milliliters of each, so 15. I did 15 milliliters for each coat. That's about how much I did for every single coat that I did. Here I'm using my heat gun to pop the bubbles, which there was no bubbles that I could see, and the coat was perfection when I got done. So this decal I actually made, and if anybody wants it, I can either put it on my website, or, you know, I can send it to you or whatever. But I just decided, I was finding the different ones, but then I was like, you know, I could just make this myself, you know. It was just, I was like, I have the barbed wire because I had already printed it off a year ago for the tumbler before. So I was like, I could just kind of, you know, add all these together, and then I could just make it available if y'all want. So I have it. Anyways, I made that particular decal there. But these little decal sheets for the leopard print, this was something that was in the Peachy Olive Glitters box for last month. And I really thought, I was like, I'm going to be able to use these for when I just want to do a little bit of, you know, leopard print here and there or whatever. And so, because it's just really, they're really small, they're really easy to use. You can keep them in your decal box and be able to pull them out and use them anytime you want. They didn't show any kind of, like, for anything underneath it, right? So they were like real nice and smooth. I did have to end up using my weed picker pen thing to kind of pick them up, because they were just kind of small in the way that, I don't know, I couldn't figure it out. So I was like, I'm just going to use my weed pen, but it was perfectly fine to do that. I mean, it worked fine for me, but anyways, that's the real reason why. So I did take some of these leopard print little spots, and I just kind of added them here and there wherever I thought maybe I needed to cover up something that was like maybe a little bit jostled or a little bit wrinkly or something like that, or just to kind of frame something out. And so I just went around putting these leopard spots wherever I felt like they needed to be. So I really wanted the top part of it to be black, but I really felt like there was a little bit too much going on here, and so I wanted to have an offset, but I really didn't want that offset to be anything that was like too distracting. And so I just went with that teal, blue, green, whatever color you want to call it. I went with that same type of color, that so it would just kind of stand out just a little bit. It wouldn't take too much away from it, but it would allow for our wording to stand out against that background. And so that is why I decided to do this offset. So as you can see here, I think had I not done that, we would have had the state or part of the name, we would have had it would have gone on top of that cow print, and then I probably wouldn't have been able to read it all that well. So that's why I wanted to put that, but just not take too much away. So I think I really liked it. I ended up having to kind of, there was a little bit inside of those barbed wire things that I ended up having to kind of dig out. But this is the easy way to do it when you, if you can't see them, or, you know, they're just too small. So you just kind of put it on there and then do it. And then weed them out, is what I was meaning to say. Anyways, I was told no glitter, but I couldn't not do glitter. I'm sorry, but like, you gotta have a little bit of glitter. So I ended up putting a little bit of this stuff that I have from God knows where. I'm sure you have some of it too, but I ended up putting a little bit of it in my epoxy. I didn't put that much, but I did put a little bit, and so we had to get some sparkle in there. I mean, just a little bit. And I really felt like it was kind of dull a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, the epoxy does make it shine, but I just felt like it just needed a little bit of oomph. And so I asked my friends for advice, and they didn't get back to me. And so, and then they told me that I shouldn't have done it, but I don't care. So I showed it to her last night, and she loved it. So I'm hoping that the lady that gets it is okay with a little bit of sparkle in there. But, I mean, who doesn't love sparkle, right? I think Beth would approve. I think she would approve of a little bit of sparkle on this tumbler. So anyways, this was another 15 milliliters of the fast set. I pretty much did fast set the whole way through because I really needed the quickness of I needed to be quick. I needed to be quick with this tumbler. And so I just used the fast set the whole time, and it was phenomenal. So I don't know how much it would be or how easy it would be to use if you were doing a whole bunch of it, like if you needed to do 3 or 4, you know, tumblers. I don't know. It did start to kind of get a little bit harder to work with, but I was mixing it a lot. So I don't know. It would be something that you would have to work on for a little bit of time in order to kind of really get the feel for it. Anyways, I ended up doing some sanding after this, sanded the rim, put a final coat on there, and then we were done. And this is my beautiful tumbler. I love it. I love the different aspects of it. I think the theme was perfect. I think it has all those little elements that you kind of need for something like this, where it's not just screaming what it's supposed to be. It just has this vibe and this feel to it, and that's what I really loved about it. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. Obviously I had a lot of fun. It was a quick, easy design. Like literally I did this in one day as far as the design goes, and then I put a coat of epoxy, and then I put the decal on. So within a few days I was done, and that fast set worked awesome. So anyways, please like and subscribe and comment down below, and please join my Facebook group, and I'll see you next time.